I want to talk about time management today with ADHD. This is one of the most popular, most common things that people come to coaching with. Feeling overwhelmed by time management, not knowing where to start, having tried a lot of things that haven't worked. And where our brain goes first for all of us is I need a planner, I need a system. That's definitely true. We all need a system of organizing time in modern life. But we often forget a piece of time management for ADHD that's very true for the majority of us, is that most people with ADHD lack a sense of time, a feeling of time. We don't necessarily have that same internal experience of, hey, 30 minutes just passed, an hour passed. It takes me 15 minutes to get to work, 30 minutes with traffic, whatever. That isn't necessarily something that we have this intuition about. And so we're usually not trying to address that in any way when we're trying a planner or a calendar. And so addressing our lack of feeling, lack of sense of time is important. Now, we may not be able to change that. We can improve it, but it might still be a little different than others around us, but there's things we can do to work with that. When you think about children, and I don't by any means mean to indicate that people with ADHD or kids are not as intelligent, not at all. But when we look at kids, we're seeing developmentally, they don't yet have this feel of time that neurotypical adults will develop. So what do we do with that? We help them represent time in really physical ways. We use little manipulatives, little things to hold to do math problems. We talk about days. When my children were younger, we would talk about days as a sleep. Okay, it's 3 sleeps away. Grandma and grandpa are coming in 3 sleeps. They didn't really yet have that feeling of 24 hours a day, but they did know the feeling of, okay, I go to sleep and I wake up. And so we were making it more concrete. So in class, in math class, they'll do manipulatives, right? So these are little Shaquille O'Neal gummies that my son has. So if we had a problem with 5 of these minus 2 of these, it's a lot easier to feel 3 Shaq heads when you can actually feel them, touch them, hold them. The same thing, the same concept is true for time. We want to represent time in our physical world for a couple reasons. If you can see time and not rely on yourself to feel time, you can limit it a little bit easier, be able to transition out of what you're doing because you can see how much time has passed and you can feel, oh, that's 30 minutes. I can see 30 minutes has passed. I need to go. But you can also help yourself get started. Sometimes when we're thinking about doing something, it's so overwhelming because 15 minutes might as well be 2 hours. We don't have the feeling of that. And so if you have, I have a couple tools here that I like to use. This I use as an occupational therapist long before I was coaching. And this is a time timer. You can get these anywhere. They're cheap. But if I set that, let's say I'm, need to leave in 20 minutes, it's very easy for me to get distracted, to feel like 20 minutes is, maybe an hour. Like I don't have the feeling of that. If I can see it and set it and look up and see, that time's shrinking down. That time's kind of elapsing and I can see it becoming less. I can feel it easier. Same, I have this other, tools get boring. You don't want to switch them up. So I also have a stand timer. I have these in increments of different minutes. This is 5 minutes. So sometimes if I'm very overwhelmed with my physical environment, things are trashed and crazy and chaotic, it's very overwhelming to think, okay, I need to clean up my whole house before I start work. But if I can just flip this and say, I'm going to make my life better, my environment better, and do all that I can do in 5 minutes, that's almost a little fun. I'm racing this and it's concrete. It's not until it's done 3 hours away, which, who knows how long it would take, but it feels like 3 hours. I can do that and I can do it quickly and concretely. So if you struggle with the feeling of time, and you have ADHD, you can expect that. It's really common. And rather than, judge yourself or expect it to be differently, you can work with that piece of time management, representing time in a physical way. Yeah, there are a lot of other pieces that we work on. We're going to do that in our group. We're going to do that in our coaching and the group calls. But this is a way that we can get started working with the feeling of time and helping us manage that.